What is up, guys? It's Christian Professional Dad, and I'm here with another knife video. And today I've got a knife video unlike any knife video I have done so far. Actually, I've made some videos like this, but I didn't upload them. I started the upload process, but there was some flags on it for copyright and stuff, and I'll explain that here in a little bit. So I didn't get into it. But I'm going to do a cutting test. Not just a cutting test, but I'm going to use a couple different knives to do a cutting test. And it's not a normal cutting test. There's a reason I'm doing this cutting test. I'm actually doing this cutting test to make a point and to prove something. Because somebody emailed me a question. They asked me something. They said, hey, I don't want to say this in the comment section because I don't want to seem like I'm calling you out or anything like that. I just got a question I wanted to ask, and I want you to clarify what you're trying to say here. I'm going to prove something here in this, but let me just say really quick on that. Somebody else also said in a comment that they didn't want to mention, and you know who you are, they didn't want to mention certain knives because they might not be available anymore or discontinued or something like that, and they don't want other people going looking for them and not being able to get them, and then they get upset, so they don't feel comfortable mentioning certain knives. Number one, you can call me on anything you ever want. If there's something you want to ask me, if you can ask me, fire away. Don't worry about how I'm going to take it. Your opinion is valued and appreciated. Even if it's questioning me, calling me on something. I'm nobody. Challenge me. Call me on stuff. Tell me I'm wrong. If you see something that you don't understand and you think I'm contradicting something or I'm saying something that's wrong, blast me. I can take it. I got thick skin. I don't want anybody hiding their opinions or feeling like they are not. This place, this comment section, I don't know if other channels or whatever, this channel, anybody can say anything that they want. Anything you want to say, you say it. Now, I'd ask that we always stay away from politics and religion, but if you've got something to say that's knife related and stuff, shoot, fire away, ask me. If I can clarify it, I will, but don't feel like you're going to hurt my feelings or make me mad. I want you to do that stuff. Number two, it doesn't matter if anybody else gets upset about a knife you mention or if they don't like your opinion about blade steels or what, it doesn't matter. Everybody's opinion is valued and appreciated. We don't have to agree on everything. In fact, I hope that we don't, because then it's boring. It is good to have differences and variety and different appreciations and perspectives, and then we still come together. Number one, it forms a stronger cohesive unit because you do bring different things to the table. It also shows the difference in our community where we do have differences of opinions, but we all still come together and agree and communicate and work together, and we don't argue about petty stuff, because these, at the end of the day, these are knives. People are starving in the world right now. The knives are petty. They're cool and they're tools and they're important. They're hobbies. They're a passion. But at the end of the day, they're knives. All right? So anything you want to say, say. So I'm going to make this video and I'm going to show you some cutting tests. Also, another thing I'm going to do before I show you cutting tests is I'm going to show you a new knife that I got in. This is a cool knife. Now, I just got this in today, and this was sent to me from somebody that's a viewer. Now, here's the thing. This put me in a hard spot, but I understand what he was saying, so I'm going to appreciate what he says, and I'm going to honor what he asked. He is somebody that has donated several knives, not one or two, but several knives to the channel for giveaways, and I have appreciated every one. And he said, hey, I've noticed that you don't have this knife. You've never shown it before. I want you to have this knife. I bought this brand new for you. It's coming to you, but this is a gift. If you absolutely are going to stick to that, I understand, but I'm asking you, this is not a donation to your channel. This is a gift to you. So I'm going to honor that. Now, I'm saying this, but I also want to clarify, I hope that nobody takes that as a sign to start sending me stuff and say, oh, okay, well, we're going to send you knives and these are gifts and stuff. I've got plenty of knives. I've got knives coming out of my ear. In fact, I was about to do a video last night talking about where I'm going to start downsizing because Ken Faulkner made a really good point in a comment that he made, and I appreciated that, and it got me thinking and some other stuff. So I was actually going to be doing a video where I might even start downsizing some of my knives and start honing in on specific things that I like instead of doing the quantity. Really start going towards quality. I don't think I'm ready to do that yet, so I held off on making that video. But nobody needs to send me knives. I've got enough. But I'm going to keep this one but I'm only going to keep it because I am going to use it for the videos. I'm going to use it for the channel. 3 knife challenges, cutting tests, stuff like that. And it is the Buck 110. This is a fantastic knife. This thing is awesome. He sent it to me brand new in the box, came straight from Buck. This thing is awesome. I mean, look at this leather pouch. I've got some leather sheaths over here. This, I mean, wow. Look at the quality of this dag-on pouch. That snap, I mean, this thing, it's just a leather pouch, but man, Buck does things so well. An American-made company. This stuff is awesome. I love this knife. And this is the Buck 110 Hunter. Now, back when I first started doing these videos, I did the 3 knife challenges, but I also did the 3 brand challenges. Some of you all might remember those, where I would compare 3 different brands. I've done daily trivia, daily knife trivia. I've done different types of videos, and along the way, I've always kept the 3 knife challenges, but the challenges that go along with them, like the daily knife challenges recently, where we're doing different scenarios, those have varied. So before I tell you about this knife, I'm going to tell you about the Buck company and how important this knife is, because some of you all might not understand the importance of this knife. In 1902, at the age of 13, Hoyt H. Buck developed, at 13, he developed a heat treating process for hoes, shovels, machetes, rakes, and different farming tools so that they would hold their edge longer. They would get sharper and hold their edge longer. He developed that heat treat process. And at 1902, at 13, he also forged his first knife, and it developed a lifelong passion. Then he went off and joined the military. And then when World War II started, the government sent out a call to all citizens. Said, hey, we don't have enough knives for the GIs. We don't have enough. And Buck, he made a famous statement. He said, I didn't have any knives to give to the government and to the soldiers, but I knew how to make them. So he bought an anvil, a hammer, and a grinder, and he went to work making knives. And then after that, in 1947, Hoyt and his son Al formed Buck & Sons in San Diego. And it was the first Buck store, the first Buck company. Then in 1963, 2 years after they became basically a public company, they become what is it called? They become an actual company. It's on the tip of my tongue, the word. In 63, his board, along with his board, they approved a knife plan to build the first 110. It would be a clip point folder with the lockback mechanism. And then 1964, it was released. And it was the first lockback knife with the clip point blade as a hunter that was strong enough to do the same things that a fixed blade could do. And first they did it out of 440, later they turned it into a 420. They've got historically awesome and amazing heat treat process because they've been doing it so long and so well. And to this day, they have sold over 15 million of this knife right here. Over 15 million Buck 110s have been sold since 1964. Now today, to this day, when people talk about a folder knife, no matter what the brand is, I'm not talking about knife enthusiasts like you and me. I'm talking about the average person. When they talk about a folding pocket knife, don't matter what the brand is, they call it a Buck knife. And there's a reason. Because this knife right here revolutionized. We talk about Spyderco with the pocket clip, the one-hand opening, stuff like that they came along and done in the early 80s when they came along. Well, before they ever come around, Buck & Son was revolutionizing the pocket knife game with this knife right here. So here's some facts about this knife. The Buck 110, it's 8.5 inches in overall length with a 3.75 inch blade. It's 420 stainless steel. And I know that that's not some LMAX or S30V or whatever, but what they're able to do with their 420 is next level. They have the best heat treating process in the game because they've been doing it so long. It's a clip point blade with the hollow grind and a satin finish. It has ebony wood handles, the scales, and the frame and the liners is one piece, one integral piece of brass. They have one big piece of brass, and then they slap the hardware, the screws, or the pins, I should say, and the ebony scales on here. And then a blade inside. This thing is fantastic. It's 7.5 ounces. It has a leather sheath. It has a nail nick opener. It's the 110, USA made, and it is for camping, hiking, everyday carry. But more than anything, this knife is historically known as one of the best hunting knives known to man, the Buck 110. This is a fantastic knife. You know who you are. Thank you. This knife, K-Bar, knives like this mean a lot to me because of the history. I don't like knives just because I like sharp stuff. I do like sharp stuff. I love anything with an edge. But I like knives, I say it all the time, because of stories, because of their importance, because of their significance. And very few knives have the historical significance of a Buck 110, of a Buck 119, of a K-Bar fixed blade, the fighting knife, of a Spyderco early model. These knives, their significance is massive. So I appreciate this knife very much. Thank you. Okay, now let's get on to this cutting test. The question was this: you're doing these challenges lately, and you're talking about all these really good knives, for these different scenarios and stuff, but you also say all the time, and I mean, they just asked me, you say all the time that HCR and everything else is just as good. So here's my clarification. I have a 420, I have a 9CR, the Glide Strike right here. This is not the one that I'm giving away that was donated. That one's right here. This is my Glide Strike. This is a 9CR, and I have a Deca and MagnaCut. Here's my clarification. 8CR, 9CR, 420, and all those other steels that are budget steels, D2, AUS-8, even getting up into 14C and stuff, they can't hold a candle to MagnaCut, to S30V, to S90V, to S110, to 20CV, to 15V, to LMAX, to Vanax, any of those. Crew wear, they can't hold a candle. They're completely different. They're budget steels. The next level steels are next level steels, and they cost what they do for a reason. What I'm trying to say when I talk about that they're good enough for the average person is this. Actually, let me show you in a thing right here. I've got these three knives. I've got rope, rubber tubing, plastic zip ties, and paper. For the first time, I'm gonna lower this down, and I'm gonna get a shot at the table. Instead of seeing my face, you're gonna see the knives. All right, we're gonna start with this one, 420. Actually, let's go ahead and cut all the paper with all of them. This is 9CR. Here's MagnaCut. This is me, not the knife. The knife is definitely sharp. Okay, So all three are extremely sharp. Let's start with 420. Where is the end of this daggone rope here? My kids were playing with it. Daggone it. Here we go. Get farther back here on the belly. I'm really wanting to cut through this stuff. Let's take this rubber tubing. Take a plastic zip tie. Now, on a daily basis, the average person, I'm not talking about somebody that uses their knife for a job, where you're cutting boxes all day, where you are literally out breaking your knife down, using it, abusing it, beating it, wear and tear. The average person on a daily basis is not going to do that much cutting with their knife. They might cut paper, they might cut a couple boxes, they might cut a couple packages open, they might slice a little bit of food. But the average person on a daily basis is not going to do that much cutting. Now, granted, that's not much, but I cut cord, I cut rubber tubing, and this isn't normal rubber tubing. This is extremely thick rubber tubing. I got the wrong stuff. Zip ties, that's hard plastic. That's me, it's not the knife. Still razor blade sharp. That's 420. You're never gonna do that much cutting on a daily basis in average general EDC. You're not going to. If you're doing that much cutting on a daily basis, then you're probably doing it for a job. You're taking it to a different level then. Now we're talking about a completely different situation. Let's go with 9CR. Oh. Now a zip tie. A lot of cutting right there. Now let's try MagnaCut. Now, I'm not using my knife for a job. I'm not cutting that much every day, but MagnaCut costs significantly more than those. So MagnaCut better cut through this stuff like butter. That's not the knife, that's me. Still has its edge. Now, I know, come back up here and talk to me, guys. I want to see your faces. Now, I know that that is not representative of you cutting 100 boxes a day. I know that. I've got stacks and stacks of those cardboard sheets over there that I bought from Amazon to do cutting tests with. I should have brought those over here too and cut down a bunch of cardboard. But it wasn't going to make no difference. The point that I'm trying to make when I talk about blade steels and whether or not they actually matter to the usual average user, to the person that's just using a pocket knife for a pocket knife, not the person that's using it for survival, for bushcraft, for using it as a work knife, cutting 1,000. If you're cutting 1,000 boxes a day, that's when it's going to matter, because the edge retention is going to matter at that point. If you are beating your knife up really, really bad, that's when it's going to matter, because the toughness and the corrosion resistance and the edge retention is going to matter. If you are in a life and death scenario, like the recent daily knife challenges that I presented, that's when the blade steel matters, because you might not be able to sharpen it for a long time. You might not be in a position to sharpen it. You might have to take on some tasks that are more significant and serious than 1,000 boxes in a day. You might have to use it as a chisel or as a chopping tool or whatever. You might have to. Those are the situations where those next level steels are going to matter. But when I say in my videos that the average user will not notice a difference if they're using 8CR or if they're using MagnaCut, that's why right there. Because you're not going to cut that much in a day. The average person don't. And again, I'm not talking, there's an exception to every rule. I'm just talking about the rule. The rule is, I know when I go out and about, I don't ever cut that much in a day. I've never one time cut that much in a day in normal EDC. Ever. I do cut strings. I cut food. I might cut a rope. I might cut tags off of something. I might cut something more significant like a box down or something like that. But that right there shows you that 8CR is going to handle it just fine. 420 is going to handle that job just fine. No different than, that's why I say all the time, anything that this knife, MagnaCut, can cut, this knife and 9CR can cut. Anything it can, this knife can cut. Now, if I have to cut a lot, then this is going to hold its value. This will prove to be a problem. Not even a problem as long as you're willing to keep sharpening it over and over. And then it still has value because this is going to be significantly easier to sharpen than this will. So you might cut 1,000 boxes with this before it loses its edge, to where you can only cut 350 boxes with this before it loses its edge. But I promise you, you can sharpen this so fast that you can cut 1,000 boxes again and sharpen it over and over and over before you can cut 1,000 boxes, sharpen it, and cut another 200 boxes with this because it takes so long to sharpen. Especially if you don't know what you're doing. So they both have their value. These blade steels are light years better than these blade steels. They're light years better. They're super steels. They're premium steels, and they cost what they do for a reason. But if you are the average person on a daily basis that is just using your knife for normal EDC task, then 8CR, 420, even 5CR, 7CR, they're probably going to do just fine for you on a daily basis. And when they do get dull, they're going to be super easy for you to sharpen. That is why I understand why some people don't care about how good the knife steel is. That's why when I go to Cabela's and my brother and the old man standing at the counter was beating me up over the value of a knife, and I'm trying to explain to him edge retention and these super steels, and they're like, dude, we can cut anything with this knife. I'll sharpen it again and again. So what? This knife, there's no reason for that knife to cost what it does. I spent $50 on this knife and I can cut everything that you can cut with that knife. I understand why people feel that way. And that's why I try to be empathetic towards that and why I say the things that I do. So to clarify, these steels are worth the money. They're way better. If you have a choice between getting MagnaCut or S30V or S35VN or S45VN or S90V or Elmax or Cruwear or any of the many 154CM, any of the many next level higher end steels, if you can afford to get those and you have the option to get those, hands down, no question, get those. 100% get them, definitely. But if all you have is 8CR, 9CR, 420, you're going to be able to cut everything that MagnaCut just cut. They cut everything that the MagnaCut just cut, and they still had an edge that would glide right through the paper. Now, how much rope could they have cut? How much rubber could they have cut? How many zip ties could they have cut through? I don't know. I know, though, for a fact that that's more than the average person is going to cut in a day. So cut that in a day, go home, sharpen your knife, and every day you'll have a sharp knife, even with 8CR, 9CR, 420, whatever, that can cut that again and again and again and again. So if you are using inexpensive budget knives, you are still doing just fine. That is why I feel the way that I do and say the things I do. One last caveat, one more time. If you are going into a scenario, like I've said in these recent daily knife challenges, if it's a dire situation, if you only have one knife, make sure it's the best. Make sure it's got the best blade steel, going to have the best edge retention, the best toughness, the best corrosion resistance. You don't know when you're going to be able to sharpen again. You don't know how long. You don't know what you're going to run across. You're not talking about daily EDC tasks then. You're talking about something a lot more significant. That's where those super stills hold their value. When you're cutting thousands of boxes, that's where 15V holds its value. Because this thing is going to hold its edge an ungodly amount of time. It's insane how long this thing's going to hold its edge. But I promise you this, when it does need to be sharpened, you're going to learn a lesson. Because this is not easy to sharpen. And if you think sharpening S35VN or whatever else is difficult, or sharpening D2, you think that's difficult to put an edge on? Try sharpening 15V. You're talking a whole nother world there. So yeah, it's going to hold its edge a long time. It's going to be valuable. It's going to be worth it. But there's something to say about convenience and ease of use. And ease of use with this right here and how easy this is to sharpen says something. So yes, if I had to pick between these two knives and I could only buy one, there's no question I'm going with this one all day long. Note that's not even close to the knife that this is. But if I only have this knife, I'm going to be just fine. And that's why I try to encourage people that have budget knives. That's why I try to tell them, you're okay, you're good. Just sharpen your knife, take care of it. It's going to do just fine. You can cut anything you want. You might have to sharpen a little bit more, but you're going to be fine. And I do get a little bit of flack about that because I encourage people and I say good things about ACR and stuff. But you're trying to tell people that these are good stills. No, I'm not. I'm not trying to say that they're good stills. They're budget stills. And if you can get the better ones, get them. But if you can't, and this is all you have, I'm going to try to encourage the people to feel good about what they have. Why should I make them feel bad about having 9CR if this is all they've got or all they can afford? I'd rather them feel good about their knife. I'd rather them feel proud of this knife and know that they're in good hands. As long as they take care of this knife will take care of them. So basically, that is to clarify my situation. If I'm going into a life or death situation, the end of the apocalyptic scenario situation, I ain't taking this knife. I'm taking a TJ Schwartz with MagnaCut or a Spyderco with 15V. You bet your butt. There ain't no question. Because my life's on the line. But if I'm just going out to the store, if I'm using daily EDC tasks, maybe go over to a friend's house, cut some birthday presents open, cut some boxes down for them, something like that, I'm good with ACR. It's okay. So what if it loses its edge? I'll sharpen it. It'll actually be easy to sharpen too. So that's to clarify what I mean by those things. These are budget steels. They're not the quality of those. There's a reason those cost what they do. Spend the money if you can. But if you can't, you're in good shape. That's to clarify everything. I hope everybody understands. I love all knives. I love all blade steels. I do understand that there's a difference. There's a difference. But we also, telling somebody that's got an 8CR blade that, hey, that blade steel sucks compared to MagnaCut. What's good that they can't go out and right now snap their fingers and get MagnaCut. So what's that going to do? What's the good in that? There's no good in that. They probably already know that anyways. So I don't want to, beat up on any blade steels. I don't want to beat up on knives. That's to clarify my position. You can cut anything with any knife if you sharpen it and take care of your edge. And it's going to do just fine. And steel, I cut all that with the 9CR and it still zipped through that paper. I cut all that, not even 9CR, with 420 and it still zipped through paper. I cut all that with Magna Cut, and it still cut through paper. Actually, it didn't even cut through paper as well as the other two did. But that was more me than the knife. So I hope that clarifies everything. So you know who you are. Thank you for this knife. I am in love with this knife, and I will cherish this knife to the day I die. I've got a son that's getting that Spyderco from MJ. I've got a son that's, and MJ, you never did answer my question, so I can get squared up with you on that. You know what I'm talking about. I've got a son that's getting this Mordax. Now I will have another son that's going to get this. So, you know, I appreciate this big time. Thank you. Please, guys, though, don't anybody want to jump up and start sending me gifts. I just don't need them. I appreciate it. I just don't need them. I don't need them. If you have money to where you can spend and you want to do something for somebody, go out and find somebody that needs an electric bill paid. Go out and find somebody on the street that's standing there holding a sign. It don't matter if it's a scam and they're really driving a Cadillac and they're just scamming people. That ain't, so what? That's between them and whoever they believe in. You just make sure you're doing the right thing. So go donate to a food bank. Instead of buying me a knife, you know, I'd have a lot of other ways to spend the money. So thank you guys. I do appreciate it though. So I'm Chris, the Unprofessional Dad. I wish all of you guys sharp knives and happy lives. Remember to join the Discord. Oh, one last thing. For everybody to know, I'm not in Discord the last couple of days. Probably won't be in there today or tomorrow. Not making as many videos right now either. I didn't make one last night when I wanted to. Dealing with some stuff with one of my kids. Just being, sometimes I just got to be a dad first. And right now I'm dealing with some stuff. So that's why I'm silent. So everybody join Discord, communicate, have fun, talk amongst each other. I'll jump in and say hi when I can. But here in a day or so, when this all gets lined out, I will be back in Discord, full force, chatting with you guys like I was the first day or two. And we'll have a lot of fun. But guys, I appreciate it. I'm Chris, the Unprofessional Dad. I wish all you sharp knives and happy lives. And I will see you with some daily knife challenges and 3 knife challenges here in a little bit.